AITA for telling my girlfriend I hate the surprise party she arranged. My girlfriend decided to throw me a surprise birthday party, though she knows I hate surprises. As the day went on, my anxiety built up. I felt overwhelmed and struggled to enjoy the nice things because I was constantly in the dark about what was next. When I realized we were heading back to my place for the party, I panicked about my untidy room and finally snapped. Me, 30M, and my girlfriend, 29F, have been together for 2 years. I had a big birthday coming up, my 30th, and she decided to enlist the help of my 2 close friends and housemates to throw me a surprise birthday party at our house. Around 15 mutual friends and 10 of my friends were invited. Now, I have always maintained I hate surprises and that I want to know things in advance. I have mild social anxiety and hate having things kept from me. Also, it's not the way I enjoy things. I like to have things in my calendar to look forward to, think about it, plan it out, imagine the details. I'm the type of person to check the menu weeks before I go to a restaurant booking. My girlfriend loves surprises. She did not believe someone won't enjoy a nice surprise. When she teased the idea of surprising me, I was always unequivocal in communicating it's not something I want. Nonetheless, she went all out. Go-karting, dinner at a great restaurant, my house decorated to the max for the party, cake, balloons, confetti. My anxiety was building steadily from the first activity to the last. I was strung from location to location. Everyone knew the plan. The next location, except for me. I hated every bit. I had an internal conflict because I know these are all objectively nice things, but I couldn't help that I was hating every second while having to pretend to all my friends I'm having the best time. I didn't want to be a killjoy and appear ungrateful. Throughout the day, I kept imploring her to give me more details of the plans, but she didn't want to spoil the surprise. It all came to a head when I gauged that we're heading back to our place for the party. It sounds silly, but my room was untidy, and the anxiety spike from knowing people will see it sent me over the edge. I said some unkind things to her, questioned if she even knew me, and that I hated it all. I told her this in private. I didn't cause a scene in front of others. I tried to smooth things over after, as I recognized I reacted out of frustration, anger, but she was understandably upset. She thinks I'm ungrateful, rude, and diminished her efforts. I think I was driven to this by a set of events I was clear I didn't want. AITA? Relevant comments. Commenter, your girlfriend didn't throw a party for you. She threw a party for herself. She completely ignored your wishes and then doubled down by not telling you more information even though you asked. It's very telling that she's now trying to play the victim. She sounds selfish and spoiled. Commenter, this is exactly what I wanted to write. It's incredibly selfish of her and really problematic if she can't be empathetic and considerate. You may enjoy things differently than she does, especially surprising you with having people in your home space. Commenter, while it would have been better if you'd kept your cool and had a conversation after the whole thing was over, you described that you were pushed to your limit. Ultimately, she was the AH in the situation for disregarding your firm statements and asserting her own preferences on you for your birthday. You have very different takes on the birthday surprise concept, and it's really unfortunate that, knowing you as she does, she chose to ignore your perspective because it was really your perspective that should have been prioritized, seeing that it was your birthday. I hope she doesn't let her hurt over your blow-up prevent her from actually reflecting on why she was wrong in the situation. If she refuses to consider this and promise not to do this again, I would not blame you for questioning the relationship. This is an incompatibility between you, which can be a non-issue, but only if she's mature enough to respect your wishes. I'd have a hard time not seeing it as an indicator of other ways she might dismiss your feelings. I understand they share an 8-year-old daughter, and they have a good co-parenting relationship, but this feels like too much. My husband didn't even consult me before telling her it might be possible. He just expected me to be okay with it because it's temporary and for the sake of their daughter. I offered to help her find another solution, even offering to chip in for a hotel or a rental, but my husband shut that down, saying I was making things difficult for no reason. He's been pushing hard, saying their daughter would benefit from her mom being nearby during this transitional time, but it feels manipulative to use their daughter as an excuse. Plus, his ex has started texting him constantly, way more than usual, and he's acting like her emotional support system. I can't help but feel like this is crossing a line. They're divorced, yet now I'm supposed to live with both of them under one roof? It feels like I'm being pushed out of my own home. This morning, things got worse. His ex texted me directly saying I must not care about their daughter if I'm unwilling to help. That's just not true. I care about their daughter, but I never agreed to share my home with his ex-wife. I feel like I'm being made out to be the bad guy here, when all I want is reasonable boundaries. Now my husband and I are barely speaking. He's acting like I'm heartless for not wanting to help, but I feel like I'm being forced into a situation that makes me deeply uncomfortable. So, AITA? Relevant comments. Commenter. His ex texted me directly, saying I must not care about their daughter if I'm unwilling to help. If they cared about their daughter, they wouldn't have set up this insanely tense living situation and skewed her understanding of healthy boundaries. NTA. OP. That's exactly what I've been thinking. How is creating a tense, awkward environment beneficial for their daughter? It's definitely not teaching her healthy boundaries. I'm all for supporting her well-being. But this situation seems like it would only cause more confusion and stress for everyone involved, especially their daughter. They're trying to frame it as what's best for her. But honestly, it feels more like they're just avoiding other solutions that would be much healthier for all of us. Commenter, definitely NTA, and he's being a jerk if he can't understand your point of view and gaslight you by making you sound like the AH for not caring about their daughter and not wanting to help. That's totally ridiculous and disrespectful to you. Is he always that with his ex? I'd be suspicious of this relationship. OP, it's been really frustrating because he's making me out to be the bad guy just because I don't want to live with his ex. The whole "you don't care about our daughter" argument feels manipulative and completely unfair. Of course I care about her, but that doesn't mean I have to sacrifice my own comfort and boundaries. As for his relationship with his ex, I wouldn't say he's always like this, but they've definitely kept in closer contact than I expected. He says it's all about co-parenting, but lately, with the constant texting and the emotional support he's giving her, it's making me uncomfortable. It's starting to feel like there's something more going on, or at least a lack of respect for our relationship. It's definitely raised some red flags for me. Commenter, this would end in divorce. I personally would tell husband that he can move out and in with her in their own place. Tell him to get ready to sign papers again. Story 4. AITA for telling my dad I want nothing to do with his fiancée and her family after he invited them to my graduation. Okay, I just wanted to start by saying English is not my first language, so forgive me if I make some grammar mistakes. I, 22F, will graduate from college in 2 weeks. 3 days ago, I received the news from the coordinator of my faculty that I'll be giving a speech during the ceremony due to my good grades. I'm summa cum laude, which is awarded to candidates whose grade point average is 3.900 or higher. I told my family, and everyone went over the moon congratulating me, but I told everyone I didn't want to attend, and I would say no to the speech. For a little bit of context, my mom passed away when I was 13, YEO, and the idea of her not being present in something so important to me is heart-wrenching. I expressed this to my family, and after so much convincing from my aunt and grandma, I decided to attend and inform the coordinator I'd do the speech. I specifically told my dad that I just wanted my 2 brothers, my aunt, my grandma, and he to attend the ceremony, no one else. I told him how I just wanted my close relatives with me that day, as they were the only ones I considered my family. He agreed to this. The problem began when yesterday, while I was looking for dresses on the internet, my dad informed me he invited his fiancée and stepdaughters to my graduation ceremony. I stopped immediately what I was doing, looking at him confused and asking why did he do that. He just answered by saying that his fiancée wanted to be included as part of the family as much as possible. I didn't know what to say, so I just reminded silence. I was mad after that because all I wanted was to celebrate that day with my loved ones. I wanted to tell my dad right away that I didn't want them at my graduation, but I was looking for the best way to tell him without hurting anyone's feelings. I know how horrible it would be for his fiancée to be told she would not be attending my graduation because my dad didn't have the minimum amount of common sense and asked me before he invited her. To clarify things, I have nothing against her. She is a good woman who respects me and my brothers, and for that I'm grateful. The thing is that I don't want to establish any type of relationship with her or her daughters, and I was very clear with my dad since day one. I'm a very close and private person, and takes a lot for me to open up to people. My dad knows this, but he always used to force me to hang out with his stepdaughters and fiancée. One day I had a serious conversation with him in which I was completely honest by telling him he deserved to be happy with someone after my mom passed. I was genuinely happy for him, but he could not force me to have a relationship with someone I don't want to, which he agreed to, or that was what I thought. I talked with my aunt about the situation, and she told me that I have the right to invite whoever I want, since is my day, and that I should talk to my dad and not feel guilty at all. I decided to take her advice and talk to my dad this morning. I told him that I specifically mentioned that I just wanted him, my brothers, and my aunt, along with my grandma there, no one else, and that he should have asked me before telling his fiancée anything. He was mad at me and said that I should be more understanding of his fiancée's feelings to be included since I never go out with her or her daughters, and she sometimes feels like I hate her. He also said that she was excited to attend when he mentioned that he couldn't tell her no. Then he said that it was just a simple graduation ceremony, and I shouldn't make a big deal about it. Not gonna lie, that hurt me since he, more than anyone, knows how hard it was for me to even enter college. He knows how I used to work and study for 4 years so he could pay for my brother's and his stepdaughter's education, and how devastated I was for not having my mom with me in that special moment. I answered by telling him that I didn't hate his fiancée or her daughters. I just wanted to celebrate with my family, but since it was just a simple ceremony, he could just not go. He then said that I was exaggerating things and that indeed just family was going to attend. I corrected him by saying that we don't have the same definition of family then, because I don't consider his fiancée and stepdaughters my family. He looked at me angrily and said that whether I liked it or not, they were my family and I should accept it. I'm so confused right now. I'm not sure if I'm wrong here. I don't know if I'm making a big deal about something that is actually not that deep, or if my reaction was exaggerated and I should apologize with my dad. I'll accept every advice you can give me and I'll appreciate them. Relevant comments. Commenter, he will do the same for your wedding. Lesson 1 for parents with new partners. Never force your partner or their family on your children. You may love your partner. That doesn't mean that your children do, nor do they have to. They didn't choose them. Commenter, he knows how I used to work and study for 4 years so he could pay for my brother's and his stepdaughter's education. This is the part that gets me. You had to work, but he paid for his stepdaughter's education. His first duty is towards you and your brothers. Their mother should have paid her daughter's education. They could both have at least paid jointly for all your kids' education, and then we can talk about being family. The expectation to be considered family while leasing another family's funds is moronic at best. Please don't tell me she doesn't work. That's a whole other mess. NTA, thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. Story 2. AITA for calling my dad's girlfriend a homewrecker during a family dinner after she tried to play mom. I, 16F, have barely spoken to my dad, 47M, since last year when he left my mom, 45F, for this woman, 35F. He'd been having an affair with for months. My parents were married for 18 years, and my mom had no clue this was happening. She was absolutely blindsided when my dad just packed up and left one day. Now, he's living with his new girlfriend, Stacy, and he's been pushing me to have a relationship with her like everything's just fine. I hate Stacy. She knew my dad was married and still carried on with him anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, she's a homewrecker who destroyed my family. It's not just the cheating either. She's been trying to play mom ever since the split. She buys me clothes that I don't like, asks me about school as if she cares, and even tries to talk about boys with me, which makes me want to throw up. She's been overly nice to the point where it feels fake, like she's trying to score points with me to make herself feel better about what she did. So last night my dad forced me to go to dinner with them. I've been avoiding it, but he said I needed to give Stacy a chance. I reluctantly agreed because I didn't want to argue, but things went downhill fast. Stacy kept trying to talk to me, asking about my life, and even brought up my mom, saying something like, "I hope we can move forward and start fresh as a family." That's when I lost it. I told her straight to her face, "You're nothing but a homewrecker, and I will never see you as family." The room went dead silent. Stacy looked like she was about to cry, and my dad exploded, calling me disrespectful and immature. He said I need to stop blaming her for what happened, that it's time to move on, and that I'm making everything harder for everyone. He even threw in, "Stacy didn't wreck anything, it was my decision." I stormed out of the house, and now my dad says he won't speak to me until I apologize to Stacy. My mom thinks I could have handled it better, but understands why I said what I said. Meanwhile, Stacy keeps texting me saying she's sorry I feel that way, and that she hopes I can forgive her one day. I honestly don't think I did anything wrong. She is a homewrecker, and I shouldn't have to pretend otherwise just because she's with my dad now. AITA for calling her out like that, or should I have stayed quiet? Relevant comments. Commenter, Stacy didn't wreck anything, it was my decision. So what? Did he force her into this relationship against her will then? No. If Stacy is a grown woman who knowingly dated a married man and was okay with him leaving his wife to be with her, then she holds just as much blame as he does. She is a homewrecker. If the shoe fits, she gets to wear them. OP, exactly. Stacy knew my dad was married, so she's just as responsible for what happened. Sure, my dad made the decision to cheat, but she actively participated in it, knowing full well that it would break up our family. It's not like she was some innocent bystander who got swept up in this. She knew the consequences and didn't care. I don't understand why I'm the one being asked to move on when they're the ones who caused all this damage in the first place. If you play a role in wrecking a home, you don't get to pretend it never happened. Commenter, Because your dad wants things to look the happy family. If you don't like her, then he can't do that. He's worried that others will find out, and they will look bad to the outside world. Commenter. NTA. She is an AH just like your father. They are also forcing you to have a relationship with her when they destroy your family. If I were you, I would go low contact with them after a no contact period. Story 3. AITA for not being okay with my husband's ex moving into our guest room, even though she has nowhere else to go. My husband, 34M and I, 29F, recently bought our first home together, and we were excited to finally have a space that was ours. A few weeks ago, my husband's ex-wife, 32F, reached out to him with a request that completely threw me off. She asked if she could move into our guest room for a couple of months. She recently broke up with her boyfriend, lost her apartment, and claims she has nowhere else to go. Nowhere.